If you want to see how much of a joke our criminal justice system is turned into, well, look no further than the circus of the Waukesha massacre trial, where suspect Darrell Brooks, who is accused of killing 6 people and injuring dozens of others when he ran his car through a Christmas parade last year, he's now making a complete mockery of this crime. He's opted to defend himself. That's where the charade began. And throughout the past 2 weeks, he has disrespected the judge in unhinged and shirtless, yes, shirtless tirades, calling for countless mistrials. He's been banished from the courtroom numerous times for being disruptive. He's berated witnesses on the stand. And even today, during his closing arguments, he claimed that his car malfunctioned due to a recall causing that crash. Watch this for yourself.
Vehicles that malfunction and accelerate not being able to be stopped.
Objection. That is
It's information. It's information.
Hold on. Go ahead.
You made reference to Mr. Brooks. Who's that?
That would be you.
And why would you say it would be you? That's you.
Because that's your name.
Mr. Brooks, I'm bringing the jury out and we're continuing. We're going to get through these witnesses.
And I'm not stopping you from doing that.
Through your behavior, you're not going to delay these proceedings today.
I'm not trying to delay the proceedings, so I wish you would stop being incorrect on the record and saying what I'm trying to do if you don't know that.
Mr. Brooks, I'm advising you to be quiet because the jury's coming back out.
You're advising me to be quiet? Is you telling me to be quiet?
I'm advising you to be respectful when the jury comes out.
Are you telling me to be quiet, or are you asking me?
We're at the end of the 3rd week of trial.
So
I need to keep this moving along.
Can we at least be fair and say that's not due to me, though?
That would not be fair to say.
Well, this spectacle of a trial is a perfect representation of the 2-tier justice system in America. This lunatic on your screen who purposely mowed down a massive crowd of innocent parade goers at Christmas time is given the benefit of the doubt, while January 6th political prisoners are still sitting in solitary confinement. Think about that. The criminal justice system has turned into a complete sham. I'm joined now by trial lawyer Mark Geragos to discuss. Mark, welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you this evening?
Oh, my goodness, Mark, you can't make this up. You know, you watch this play out, and a theme that's been throughout this trial has been that Brooks doesn't like the judge. He's mocking her any chance he can get. Yesterday, he actually built a box fort at his desk to hide himself from her, the judge, and the camera. I mean, he's tried all the tactics for mistrial. It's not even a serious trial anymore. As a trial lawyer, Mark, have you ever seen anything like this Waukesha trial?
Well, the problem is, you know, there's 6 people who are dead, and so I would love to joke around and find the comedy in this, because it's like a really bad Saturday Night Live skit. I mean, the building of the fort, I can't tell you how many times that's run through my mind, but I've resisted the urge. This judge has the patience of Job in allowing this, but I will tell you, you know, there are plenty of people in the criminal justice system who have real, legitimate mental health issues. This just strikes me as so contrived. Everything he's doing seems so contrived. And that's, I think, what the farce, when you talk about the farce, that's the farce. And I give the judge credit because he's tried everything possible to engineer, if you will, a mistrial or get her to do something that is going to cause him to have an appellate grounds. But she hasn't done that yet. The prosecutors, actually, I saw a clip today where he was introducing, as you said in the package that led into this, the fact that the car had been recalled, suggesting that that was the reason that this had happened. And that wasn't in evidence, and that wasn't part of the evidence. And clearly they could have, I mean, if I had done that in a trial, you would have been found in contempt almost instantly or summarily. But this is, you know, unfortunately, you do have a right to defend yourself. And I say it's unfortunate because in a situation like this, somebody is taking advantage at the extremes.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, and I really feel for those families of the victims that have to sit and watch this. A man who obviously has no remorse, who denies that he did anything wrong. It's just awful to watch this play out. And the judge actually had to call a recess today, or had to call recess because he was frightening her. Watch this.
From 2003 criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
Right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared. And we're taking a break.
I mean, one of many unusual moments from this trial, Mark. I mean, he's acting insane. He's accused the judge of misconduct, saying that the jury isn't watching a fair trial just because she's had to eject him from the courtroom multiple times for being disruptive. I mean, Brooks will, of course, try to appeal after the verdict, likely using the judge as his basis. But does he have any real grounds to stand on?
No. I mean, the only potential grounds for an appeal here is, should at some point did he lose his right to be what's called pro per pro se, meaning represent himself? Well, at a certain point, a judge is given leeway to say, I'm going to revoke your pro per status, and I'm going to appoint either a standby counsel or somebody to substitute in and represent you, whether you like it or not. And I think that's as far as I can tell so far, that would be the only grounds for an appeal here, is that she should have just said at a certain point, I'm going to stop ejecting him. I'm going to revoke his pro per status because he's not cooperating, and I'm going to appoint him a lawyer whether he likes it or not.
Right. And Mark, before we let you go, I want to play one more clip just for our audience who may not have been catching the trial. Darrell Brooks, he went ballistic in the courtroom when the prosecution brought up the fact that he's a convicted sex offender. Watch.
He impregnated Erica Patterson when she was a minor in Nevada, and for doing so, he was convicted of statutory sexual seduction.
That's a lie.
Let him
Because at the end of the day,
Let him finish.
If we don't open the door
Mr.
on that. No,
Brooks.
since he want to make a record and not be accurate, so let's be accurate all on the record. Since you think you know so much,
Once
so
again,
we can
Mr.
open the
Brooks
door
is
on.
being
We can
loud,
open the door on how old she told me she was. when we met.
interrupting.
We can ask that question
He is
too. Then
over the
Did you
top,
ask that?
animated
Do you
right
know
now.
that?
Unbelievable. I mean, why wasn't he held in contempt of court for these outbursts?
Well, this is the problem. He's facing the rest of his natural life in prison. So what is it? I had a client once who was facing that kind of a situation, who was continually doing outbursts. And as the judge said, what am I going to do? Put him in double secret jail? I mean, at a certain point, he's not going anywhere. It's nothing you can do to somebody when they're in contempt of court and they're in custody and they're not going somewhere anywhere. The coercive nature of a contempt is that I'm going to throw you in jail or I'm going to take your money away.
Right.
There's no punishment here that's going to affect him. He's obviously, it looks to me at least, that his mental health issues appear to be contrived.
Well, I say he deserves the same fate as those unfortunate victims of his. Mark Geragos, thank you for joining us tonight. Always great to have you here. We appreciate your insight.
Always great to see you.